What is up, guys? It is the Bluebloods here, man. Just me today. This is officially our 2-minute drill for April 30th, Friday, man, wrapping up the week. But we got our SWAC Championship preview instead of the 2-minute drill thing, man. We are going to, this is the only thing we're going to cover today. We are going to preview this amazing SWAC Championship we have coming up tomorrow. I believe it's 2 p.m. And we're finally here. The two best teams this season in the SWAC get to determine who is the 2021 spring football champion, man. And I am so pumped. I don't know about y'all or anything, but this game is going to be a neutral site game in Jackson, Mississippi, because each team has some game cancellations due to COVID that would have probably determined who hosted the game. So, Veterans Memorial Stadium, Jackson, Mississippi. Deion Sanders' home stadium is going to play host this weekend to a great matchup. You got Arkansas Pine-Bluff coming in at 4-0 with wins over Southern, Grambling State, Mississippi Valley State, and Prairie View A&M. While Alabama A&M technically comes in at 4-0, but they only played 3 games. That forced win over Alcorn State is there. They also have beaten South Carolina State, Jackson State, and Alabama State. So this is what we have here, man. Arkansas Pine-Bluff, Alabama A&M. It is going to be an amazing, amazing matchup. But, man, let's get right into it. I mean, the biggest storyline for me, the one that's probably going to determine, exactly what happens this weekend, I think the quarterback battle is the one to watch. Now, listen, Aqeel Glass and Skyler Perry, I think, are primed to put on absolute shows, man. Both of these guys are immensely talented. Both of these guys do unique things I think will give their team the best opportunity to win this weekend. Glass probably, might have the best pure arm talent in the SWAC right now. I mean, he's been on an absolute tear these past 2 games for the season, over 1,000 yards passing, 13 passing touchdowns, only 3 turnovers. This guy's averaging over 360 yards a game passing. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I mean, this dude has been balling for these Bulldogs out here. And, for on the flip side, Perry, I don't know if he has the raw talent that I think Aqeel Glass has, but I think he consistently makes the correct decision. He finds ways to get his playmakers the ball. And I think that's the biggest thing. As long as you can get those playmakers the ball, put them out in space to make plays, that's the most you can ask for a quarterback. And that's what he does, over 1,000 yards passing, 12 touchdowns, only 3 picks, and he's averaging over 250 yards passing per game, guys. I mean, now the one difference here is I think Perry is a bit more of a threat with his legs compared to Glass, just based on, kind of the film I've watched. But they're both pocket guys that are going to spread the ball around in 4 or 5 wide receiver sets. I feel like Perry's just a bit more athletic though, and has a bit more potential to do something with his legs. And I think the reason I think this matchup is extremely important for me is not. I mean, Aqeel Glass is going to be the star of the game. I get it, and that's partly why we're here. But I think the main reason this matchup is important is because Perry is going to have to match the output that Glass and this Alabama A&M offense are putting out this week. We know this Alabama A&M secondary is young. They're prone to allow some big plays deep. But if you miss your opportunities, as as possible, if Perry goes out there, throws a pick, Perry goes out there, doesn't complete a drive, they miss a field goal, they don't get a 4th down, Alabama A&M could blow this game open. I'm looking at a similar thing to kind of what we saw with Jackson State. Jackson State was scoring and scoring and scoring. It was a back and forth. But as soon as Jackson State didn't score, Alabama A&M had that game, and they kind of ran away with it after that because Jackson State missed their opportunities. And so I feel like in this one, the quarterback that can lead their team to more consistent drives, create the most explosive plays while avoiding turnovers is going to win this game. The reason it's interesting for Perry is that if Aqeel Glass gets off to the start that I think he could have, that could put Perry in such a high pressure situation. I'm wondering if he'll start forcing things. And, we saw kind of a slower start at the beginning of the Alabama A&M Alabama State game, I wonder if Alabama A&M could come out firing, kind of like they did against Jackson State, and avoid that slow start. But right now, in this matchup, I'm giving the advantage to Alabama A&M in the quarterback battle. I've been vocal on this podcast. I've been vocal all year long. I think Aqeel Glass is arguably the best quarterback in the SWAC. So personally, I think they have the advantage here. Perry, I think, is a very good quarterback. I don't think he's as accurate as Glass. I don't think he has the pure arm talent as Glass. And that wide receiving core, man, out there for Alabama A&M is going to be deadly. I'm expecting them to hook up on some really, really explosive plays, and we're going to see what happens. But it's not my prediction yet. Let's get to my second storyline, something I'm going to be watching for, as we get closer to the game. I'm looking at the rushing attacks. Now, you could be saying, well, man, didn't you just tell us they're they're passing oriented teams? It's going to be 4 or 5 wide receiver sets. I agree. That is true. But neither team excels at rushing the football, and that's going to leave a lot of pressure on their quarterbacks to go against these defenses that are going to be primed and locked in, looking to stop the pass, if you know what I mean. So, coming into the game, I honestly feel like, Alabama A&M's defense, Arkansas's defense, Arkansas Pine-Bluff's defense are going to be focused on stopping the deep pass. They're going to be focused on rushing the passer. So the team that can rush the ball better is going to have a significant advantage in the long run in this game for me. Arkansas Pine-Bluff, they rush for around 120 yards per game, while Alabama A&M does about 125 on the ground per game. But the key thing is, I don't think either of these guys have a go-to running back that they can rely on to get consistent yardage. You look at Arkansas Pine-Bluff, Mateus Clark only has 168 yards rushing on the year. You might say, well, they've only played 4 games, man. Well, he's averaging almost under 3 yards per carry. Now, taking pure total yardage, I get it. That's an amateur way to go. You got to look at the yards per carry, and he doesn't average many yards per carry. He doesn't have that explosiveness to get behind the rushing attack, which really limits them in terms of how they can rush the ball. Then you go down to Omar Allen Jr. He's second on the list with only 140 yards rushing, but he's averaging 3.7 yards per carry. A little bit better than Clark, but neither of them are overly impressive. I need to see a little bit more. That kind of by committee approach adds up to that 120, but I really think the team that can find that go-to workhorse guy in this game to take some of the pressure off Perry and or Glass in this game is going to be at a significant advantage. You move on to Alabama A&M here. Gary Quarles is the leading rusher, about 250 yards on the year. He's averaging almost 5 yards per carry, though. So each of them have, we have the two workhorse committee going for Arkansas Pine-Bluff. We have Quarles for Alabama A&M, but Quarles is putting together more yards per carry than both of the guys over there at Arkansas Pine-Bluff. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch. So the team that can establish the run game for me, make the defense be honest, and open up those deep field opportunities that are going to be far and few between. Hopefully, if you're a defensive coordinator, is probably going to win the game. It's going to open if you can run the ball and those safeties start having to look into the backfield. Those linebackers have to be disciplined, staying in the box. Those defensive ends can't get up the field at your quarterback. I mean, that's going to go a long, long way in terms of determining who can win this game. And I feel like Aqeel Glass and this team, they really need this, because I feel like that's what Alabama State tried to do at the beginning. They tried to focus on stopping that passing attack, and just down the stretch, they lost some bodies that kind of prevented that. But I think this game's going to be more important. These two teams are very evenly matched in terms of that. So I think the team that can, I'm not looking for, we look at something like Ohio State had this year with Trey Sermon going for 300 yards. I just need a guy who can get me 85 to 115. I'm going to give a big range. 85 to 115 is what I'm looking for from a running back. I'm just make them respect you in the box, and that way it opens up stuff deeper down the field. And I think another storyline, man, is which defense can pass rush and which defense can force turnovers. That's the two things: pass rushing ability and turnover Your ability to force turnovers are huge here in this game. Arkansas Pine-Bluff here, I think this is where they're going to have a major advantage over Alabama A&M. They do have better overall pass rushers, in my opinion. Alabama A&M's offensive line has been pretty inconsistent at times. They've shown some improvement, that it's been inconsistent. Isaac Peppers for Arkansas Pine-Bluff linebacker is a player I really want to watch here. He's an instant game changer. He already has 5.5 sacks this year, 6.5 tackles for loss, paired up with Xavier Mitchell, who I think could be an interesting player to watch as well. 3 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss. Both of these guys need to have big games. They got to get to Aqeel Glass, man. If you don't get to Aqeel Glass, he was going to sit into the pocket and burn you up deep down the field. And so I think they have to get the ball quickly out of his hands, and I think they need to. They got to get him to the ground. So let me say this: Arkansas Pine-Bluff not only needs to get pressure, when they get their hands on Glass, they need to bring him down. So broken plays, I think, is where Glass could really excel here. So this is going to lead Alabama A&M to running away with the game, because we see all the time the defensive ends come up the field, they pressure the quarterback, he rolls out. Well, now it's a broken play. Wide receivers break off their routes, and I think Alabama A&M is too talented at the quarterback spot with Glass and at multiple wide receiver spots to allow that to happen. If you're Arkansas Pine-Bluff, you have to get them to the ground. If you don't get them to the ground, all you're going to do is make it harder on yourself. And once, you see this like kind of morale thing going, this confidence thing going, where it's like, I know I can beat my guy, but I can't get my hands on Glass, and you're going to see those defensive ends start to lose their confidence. And I think overall it would really shift the momentum toward Alabama A&M if Arkansas Pine-Bluff can't get Aqeel Glass to the ground. And when you look on the flip side too, Alabama A&M only has 9 sacks the entire year, about 3 a game. But I want to look out for Marcus Cushiony, who has recorded a sack all 3 games this year. He has all 3 games has recorded at least 1 sack. He has 5 sacks for the season. I think he has to be a big factor, making sure he can get to the quarterback, making sure Perry stays in the pocket and they can get some pressure on him. I also want to focus on Armani Holloway and Quantravis Kelly, both linebackers. They need to have their best game of the year. They need to hold this defense together. They have to make plays sideline to sideline. I really want to see if these 2 guys can have their best game. They're going to have to be factors in coverage. They're going to be factors in the run game and in pass rushing ability. I want to see how aggressive both of these defensive coordinators call this game, because I feel like if you get a little bit too conservative, it could lend itself to one of these quarterbacks really blowing up the game. I'm very interested in this. I also, looking at the coaching battle, y'all know I'm the biggest Connell Maynard fan. I think that gives Alabama A&M a little bit of advantage there. But it's a 2-minute drill, man. I wanted to bring this preview on. I'm so excited for this game. But for my prediction, let's go ahead and get to it as we wrap up this episode. I have Alabama A&M 42-34 over Arkansas Pine-Bluff this weekend in Jackson, Mississippi. So I know that this could. I really haven't. Now, I was looking at predictions and things like that online, and I mean there really hasn't been too many put out. So I don't know if this is going to go against the fray or anything like that. But I think when picking a game like this, a conference championship game, you go with the team that has a superstar quarterback. That's Aqeel Glass. You go with the team that has the motivated head coach. Connell Maynard's looking just to make a name for himself. I like their linebackers more with Holloway and Kelly. I do think Arkansas Pine-Bluff has the better overall maybe defense, but Alabama A&M, I think, just is going to put the pressure on them. I think they're going to come out and score early and often, and I just don't know if Perry and that offense for Arkansas Pine-Bluff can keep up. I think they will keep up for a majority of the game, but if I had to guess who makes a mistake first, which I think that's what it's going to come down to, who's going to blink first here, I would bet it's going to be Arkansas Pine-Bluff. I think Alabama A&M pulls away late. 42-34, the Bulldogs win a SWAC championship. Connell Maynard wins the SWAC championship for his for his Alabama A&M Bulldogs. I think the MVP is going to be Aqeel Glass. I think he throws for probably 350 or more this game. I really do. And I think if he throws for 350, he'll probably have probably 4 or 5 passing touchdowns. And I just think so. I really think Alabama A&M is going to rush a little bit better. I think a player that the X factor for this game for me is Gary Quarles. I think he can be that running back to get me 85, 90, maybe even 100 yards, put in the right positions. He only has 2 rushing touchdowns. I would like to see him use more in the red zone if they get there. But we all know this Alabama A&M offense relies on the deep ball, relies on big plays, and I think Aqeel Glass is going to continue that. I think it's been a great season for both of these teams, but I think at the end of the day, Alabama A&M pulls it off. They are your 2021 SWAC Spring Champions this year, man. So let me know what y'all think, man. This has been one of my favorite things to cover this year. We're continuing in the fall, like I told y'all, a few weeks ago. We are going to be offering up SWAC, FCS, HBCU coverage all throughout the fall, even on top of our D1 content that we put out every season. But guys, let me know what y'all think. Comment y'all's predictions in it down there. Also, let me know who y'all think could be the MVP. Let me know y'all's thoughts on the game. I want to see a lot of interaction. Our breaking news that Quincy Casey got a bunch of interaction, a bunch of excitement. So I appreciate all y'all's support for that. Yeah, I know. Off script, hit us up in the comments, man. We are going to get in touch with him, get him on the podcast. So shout out to him for giving us a shout out, man. We appreciate all y'all support. Also, I want to mention this. Last night was our NFL draft coverage. We did announce our giveaway winners. So I want to announce the names real quick now in case y'all couldn't make it to the NFL draft party we streamed last night. We streamed for like 4.5 hours. It was crazy. But our first winner, AJ Torres. Appreciate all the support, man. We also have Sonic Boom C98. We also have Austin Tankersley, Wyatt Keenan, and Moses Sando. Those are our 5 giveaway winners for our 100 subscriber giveaway. We're over halfway to 200, man. So we're picking another 5 of y'all. How about this? I'll bump it to 7. We're picking 7 of y'all for the next 200 giveaway, man. So make sure to keep subscribing, keep supporting the Bluebloods, man. The 2-minute drill. We appreciate all the support, man. I couldn't do this without y'all. But for right now, man, make sure to watch this game this weekend. We are going to come back with a recap Monday for the 2-minute drill. So let's see who is crowned the SWAC champion for this season. But for myself, the Bluebloods, and the 2-minute drill guys, we are out.